What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Alex. Shout out to the Elite Fleet. Make sure you like and subscribe so you can become a member of the Elite Fleet. And we're going to continue this Financial Fridays thing because we can talk about dating, we can talk about relationships, pop culture, working out, and we're going to continue to talk about all that stuff. But to build a lifestyle, you have to understand how to get your finances in order. You have to understand budgeting. You have to understand investing. You have to understand how to make your money work for you. And greater than all that, I'm trained in that. I'm licensed in that. And if I can drop gems to you guys that I wish I would have knew when I was younger, I just wish I would have knew in general, and I see most people don't know, I want to have the ability to do that. I want to really help you guys out. So for the people who want that information, we're going to continue to do this every single Friday. You'll be able to come here and get those gems. If you want further financial advising or consultation, because people know that I'm a financial professional, okay, you can send me an email. I'll set up an advisement session or a counseling session with you, or you can just subscribe to the Patreon where I break down different investment instruments. Okay, I make a little budget sheet for you guys so you can plug your numbers in, know how much you have left. You can subscribe there, and we drop daily content there where we dig in deeper to different avenues, or you can just hit me up in my email and I'll give you a consultation. We can talk about what might work for you, all right? But in this video, what I really want to talk about is not saving all your money. Because everyone gets told, right? Oh, you need to have a savings. You have to save a certain amount of money. You got to make sure you're saving. Save. And it's not that saving is a bad thing, okay? Because you 100% need an emergency fund, which we're about to break down in 2 seconds. But you don't want to save too much money, because at the end of the day, you start saving too much money, I consider that a loss, which I'm also going to explain in the next 2 seconds. You guys got to remember, every month, all the money you put into a bank savings account, you're not really getting a return on that investment. They're giving you back like 0.00003% or something crazy like that. Meanwhile, they flipping your money, okay? They loaning your money out, 4% interest rate, 10% interest rate, 24% interest rate. They're using your own money to make money while you're just saving money, okay? So you want to have an emergency fund, but you also want to know when to hedge that and to start investing and to make your money work for you, all right? So let's start with the emergency fund. Emergency funds should consist of, at least in my opinion, okay, and what I would advise all you guys, you want to have at least 2 months, bare minimum, be able to pay your bills for 2 months should disaster strike. By disaster, I mean, let's say you get injured and you can't go to work. Let's say you get laid off. Let's say you get fired. You keep yourself on your feet for at least 2 months until you back in action, okay, you recover, or you back in action as in you find another job, all right? Ideally, that's what you want in your emergency fund. Generally, you could do that with anywhere between $3,000 to $10,000, okay? $10,000 is your max that I would put into a savings account. $3,000 is like the minimum that I would try to put into a savings account, okay? Ideally, I would take care of that before I worry about investing. I would take that time while I'm taking care of that to learn about different types of investments, okay? So you might want to be the people who subscribe to Patreon to learn what I want to invest in once I get my savings right, all right? Because there's little investments you can make if you don't have a $3,000 savings, right? Like you could go invest in like penny stocks or penny cryptos or put $1 here, $5 there, but to really make money, you got to put money in. And if you don't have at least $3,000 in that savings, you're probably not all the way ready yet, so I would take that time period to learn, which is fine. Because you need to learn anyway, especially if you can't afford to get an advisor to do it for you, okay? But anything over $10,000, right, in your savings account, now I'm considering that you're losing money. And here's why. No matter pretty much what situation you're in, $10,000 is more than enough to cover you for emergencies, right? If you have to go to the hospital, right, $5,000, $8,000, if you got a deductible higher than $10,000, you shouldn't even have medical insurance, because what's the point at that point? Okay, that's enough to cover you if you have to randomly go to the hospital and you got to pay your deductible, right? That's enough to cover your mortgage or your rent if you get fired. That's enough to cover your car notes for a few months if you get fired. That's enough to cover your electric. That's enough to cover your cable. That's enough to take care of you for a good amount of time in the event you get fired, you get laid off, you get injured, or whatever happens, you don't have a stream of income. So now, going back to what I said about how the banks are paying you 0.00003%, anything you're putting in there is really just play money. It's expendable funds, okay? So now at this point, I would look towards investing that money, all right? I run into so many people who have tens of thousands of dollars in the savings account, and I always ask myself, why? Like one person I ran into, for example, I helped her set up an account. She was a lawyer. I met her through my homegirl who's the CDO, right? So I was like, okay, well, how much do you have to play around with? How much do you have in your savings? How much do you have in expendable? This woman had $40,000 in the savings account. I repeat, $40,000 in a savings account. I said, yo, how long you been putting that money in there? She's like, oh, I've had $30,000 in there last year. I had like $20,000 in the year before. So she wasted 3 years putting more money into a savings account. You guys have to understand, if she would have been investing that same lump of money and she would have left it at 10,000 and just been investing the rest, she'd already be pushing 6 figures. I repeat, she would already be pushing 6 figures. So I broke that down to her. I set up some investment strategies for her, okay? I ran into one other cat, right? And this is where understanding your avenues come in, because this older cat, he getting ready to retire, right? He just turned 60. He planned on retiring at 65. He had $24,000 in his checking account, right? So I told him, I'm like, yo, you don't need all that, okay? Let's shave $14,000 off of that, okay, and get that invested into something. Get that invested somewhere else, all right? Now, in his case, he's 60 years old, so he wants something that's going to give him a quick payout. So what I did for him is, I'm going to put you into what I like to call an income annuity. Well, what's that? It gives his money like 5 years to grow, then he gets a payout every single month, okay? While the money continues to grow, basically until he passes away. You want more info on that? Check out the Patreon, but that's what I set up for him, okay? So now, his money's working for him, all right? Now, he putting his money to work. There's no reason to go past $10,000 in his savings account, especially when he about to cash out in retirement anyway. So he shaved that off. We put it into that. That's going to continue to grow. That's going to pay him off every month after that. All right. Then with Shorty, who I was telling you guys about, I said, okay, we're going to take 30,000 of this out. We're going to leave you with 10,000, right? And she's what I like to call risk averse, which means she doesn't like very aggressive things, okay? She's okay with risking some money, but she doesn't want to risk all her money. So I said, okay, well, this is what we're going to do for you. We're going to take 15,000 and we're going to put it into an aggressive account, which is what I would call a variable investment account, okay? And this has the potential to grow your money all the way up to 10%, 11%, 15%, depending upon what the market's doing, but you also could lose money, so it's a little bit risque. But on the back end, we're going to take your other 15,000. We're going to put it into a fixed investment account. So in this investment account, okay, you could be getting anywhere from 3%, 5%, 8%, whatever the case may be, but you know you're going to make money. You're not going to lose any money. This way you know I'm going to gain something. So you have the potential to have extremely high gains on one side, but you also have the potential to lose. But on the other side, you have a guaranteed win-win. There's no way you can lose. So you're taking a high roll on one side and you're hedging your bet on the other, and you still have your 10,000 emergency fund. Same thing with the older guy. Same thing with the older guy. He put his money into an income account that's fixed. He knows it's going to grow. He knows at what rate it's going to grow. And he knows in 5 years, when he retires, he'll have his 401k coming down the pipeline. He'll have his pension coming down the pipeline, his social security coming down the pipeline, and he'll have this income annuity coming down his pipeline so he can rest easy, be comfortable, and just chill out, him and his wife. And this is what I mean when I say at a certain point, you start saving too much money, you're costing yourself money. Because both of these people, they're going to make tens of thousands of dollars off of their tens of thousands of dollars. They would have never made those tens of thousands of dollars if they continue to invest it into a savings account. So it's about understanding that sweet science, guys. That sweet science of how much should I save versus how much I should invest, okay? Now, you can always set up a budget plan too, which we'll get into this in another video, right? Where it's like, okay, Alex, I can't necessarily put 3,000 up now, but I still don't want to wait to invest. Well, there's little things you could do. You can set up a plan where you're saving $200 a month, you're investing $200 a month, and then the rest of your money goes toward bills, right? But that'll be in another video. In this particular video, we're talking about saving loads and wads of cash, how much you should save, and at what point you should cut off to invest. I say by the time you get to about $3,000 to $10,000, whatever your lifestyle is, whichever one makes you feel more comfortable, anything over $10,000, you're costing yourself money. Consider yourself in the red. At that point, it's like handing out money. It's like feeding the homeless, but you feeding the banks who don't need any more money. The reserve needs no more money. The banks need no more money. They get the most bailouts. They got corporate welfare. They don't need your brain. All right? So that's how I break that down, guys. Make sure you have an emergency fund in case you get into trouble, but then hedge it on the rest of your money. Make sure you invest in that, splitting it up, flipping it, duplicating it, and letting it grow. I am Alex, and I am out. Peace.